saltmustflow.com, saltycracker9 on X. Salty Cracker returns to our program today. He needs almost no introduction. He is the most popular guest on this show and literally gets more views than any of the other comedians or celebrities, anybody else got on the show. The Salt Queen has freed him up to sort of allow us to be able to interview him this early today. So thank you for all being here for the noon show. He needs no introduction. Let's get right to it. Our laws as it pertains to substances are draconian and bizarre. The psychopaths start this way. He was an alcoholic because of social media and pornography, PTSD, love addiction, fentanyl and heroin. Ridiculous. I'm a doctor, for sake. Where the hell do you think I learned that? I'm just saying, you go to treatment before you kill people. I am a clinician. I observe things about these chemicals. Let's just deal with what's real. We used to get these calls on Loveline all the time. Educate adolescents and to prevent and to treat. If you have trouble you can't stop and you want help stop it, I can help. I got a lot to say. I got a lot more to say. Summer is right around the corner, and unfortunately, so are those visible dark spots, sunspots, other blemishes that the sun leaves behind. Until now, the deep correcting serum from our friends at Genucel visibly fades away dark marks, sunspots, scars, and other signs of discoloration all over your skin. You'd be amazed at how quickly you'll see results. Now you can enjoy your summer, sun, beach, barbecues without the annoying spots. And as always, Genucel guarantees you'll see the results or your money back, no questions asked. Right now you can save over 50% off Susan's skincare essentials at Genucel.com/Drew, plus save an extra 25% automatically applied at checkout for world-class skincare that works.
I know I'm a snob about the products I use on my face. Everybody knows it. Every time I go to the dermatologist's office, they're just rows and rows of different creams. And then when I get to the counter, they're overpriced. All kinds of products that you can all find at Genucel.com.
Order right now and you get the Genucel Ultra Retinol for a hydrating, moisturizing effect on the delicate skin during the harsh summer months. Visit Genucel.com/Drew now and get free shipping. That is Genucel.com/Drew, GENUCEL.com/DREW. Of course, I'm a fan of the healthy aging supplement True Niagen. I've been taking it almost for a decade myself. This supplement boosts NAD, which your cells need to survive properly metabolically, and it goes down as we age. It does so with a nutrient called nicotinamide riboside, or NR, specifically patented form of NR called Niagen. It's the most efficient and trusted NAD booster. NAD can also play a role in reproductive health. Boosting NAD is recommended with prenatal vitamins for women over 30 looking to start a family. Here's Dr. Amy, also known as the Egg Whisperer, a highly influential specialist in this area.
That was when I said, this is amazing. I need every single person going through fertility to take it. I not only take it myself, my patients have shared stories. They took it and then they got pregnant naturally. And that's really my goal, is I want people to empower themselves with the tools so that they can get pregnant without my help.
True Niagen is an amazing NAD booster. You're going to want to add it to your reproductive health arsenal. And of course, it's in our family of Dr. Drew sponsors. Go to drdrew.com/True Niagen for 20% off your order. That is drdew.com/True Niagen. Enter Dr. Drew at checkout for 20% off. And before the salt starts flowing, I want to introduce a new sponsor, Lumen, the world's first handheld metabolic coach. I actually use it every day. Device measures your metabolic metabolism through your breath. And on the app, it lets you know if you're burning fat or carbs. It's a really interesting way to keep track of this. It gives you a tailored guidance to improve your nutrition, workout, sleep, even stress management. All you have to do is breathe into the Lumen first thing in the morning, and you'll know what's going on with your metabolism, whether you're burning mostly fats or carbohydrates. Gives you a 1 to 5 scale. Then Lumen gives you a personalized nutrition plan if you wish for that day based on your measurements. You can also track your cycle as well as the onset of menopause, adjust your recommendations to keep your metabolism healthy through hormonal shifts so you can keep up your energy and keep away those cravings. Next, you take the next step, which is improving your health. For doing so, I want you to go to lumen.me/Dr. Drew to get 15% off your Lumen. That is LUMEN.me/Dr. DRDREW for 15% off your purchase. As I said, it's a really interesting instrument. Use it every day. It gives you great feedback on what you've been doing from a dietary management standpoint. So let us get to it. Salty Cracker in the house. The salt must flow today. I want to get right to him. You can follow him at saltmustflow.com and saltycracker9 on X. So, my friend, I actually have a couple of videos of recent rants of yours, but I can't play them in the first 10 minutes of our show because we'll get taken off the air. YouTube will shut us down. But I do want the salt to flow today. You and I have been developing a relationship. It's been way too low key, been way too respectful of me, and I want you to be clear and honest today. So let's start with the debates. What are you looking for tonight?
Oh, I'm so glad to be speaking to you because I need a doctor's opinion on how much and what type of drugs they have been pumping that old man up with over the last 7 days, because he is going to be glowing from God knows what on that stage.
Yeah. So I see, again, I know it, no direct knowledge. I don't know him, but you see those Parkinsonian features, right? The freezing and the festinating gait and the mask-like faces, right? Those are called Parkinsonian features. Those are simply observable, factual representations of his motoric movements at his age. It happens to people as they age. It's associated with general cognitive and sort of cerebral decline, or really general CNS decline. It doesn't mean he has Parkinson's disease. It could be a lot of different things, frankly, including just aging itself. But they will usually treat that with anti-Parkinsonian sorts of medication. And those medicines can cause all kinds of strange mental status changes. And sometimes I think I'm seeing that when he's moving better. Sometimes you see his sort of mumbling more and sort of more tangential and seems more out of it. But it'll be interesting to see, if there's anything like we saw with the State of the Union, which I think is what you're referring to, where he seemed to be on some sort of stimulant, like something was making him sort of yell a lot. And I'm not, whether that's Adderall or whether it's nothing, or I don't know, or whether I don't know what these things are, but it does seem dramatic how much he changes, doesn't it?
Well, not only that, but you had his spokeswoman come out, not the Korean lady, but I guess his campaign spokeswoman came out, and she was telling everybody, well, get ready. You're going to see an energized Joe Biden this evening. I'm sitting there going, hold on a second. So are you admitting that you're going to juice this guy up? First of all, he's been missing for an entire week. They've shipped him off to Camp David. And everyone's ignoring this, by the way. What kind of debate prep for an hour and a half long debate do you need 7 days to prep for when you're supposed to be qualified to be running this place?
Well, guess what? I mean, here's what. If you want to try different medicines to see which one works best, I mean, I'm not kidding. I mean, that's what you would do. You would take about a week to 10 days. They're out of the system in a day. You'd try one every day, and you'd try these different things to see what gave you the best result. Then you'd get a leak from CNN about the questions that are going to be asked, and you craft answers, and you see which answers come out best under the influence of which substances. I'm not saying that's what happened, but that's what you would do if you were doing something like that.
Well, listen, you're a doctor, so you got to be careful. I'm not a doctor. I'm crazy. So I can say, no, that's definitely what's happening. Take a look at this crazy world that we live in. First of all, they tell you that he's going to be energized. So they're already admitting and acknowledging that he is sleepy. So you have to preload this. Okay, well, he's going to be energized. Okay. Well, then is he taking cocaine? And then they come back and they go, I can't believe that you would say that he would take cocaine. You can't believe I'd say to take cocaine. You guys found cocaine in the White House, and you ignored it.
Right.
His son's on cocaine.
Yes,
everybody in that family's on cocaine, Drew.
Well,
allegedly, of course.
It's allegedly. Somebody in the White House is on cocaine. Otherwise, why would they have had a big supply of cocaine ready to drop out of their pocket? I don't see cocaine. I can tell you what. When you speculate about that the way he was, say, during the State of the Union, I would say that is not cocaine with absolute certainty. Okay, because cocaine has a much more rapid onset and fall off, and there's no long-acting cocaine, and That's why people have to keep smoking crack over and over and over again, because it comes out of your system very quickly. You couldn't give an hour lecture on cocaine or an hour State of the Union on cocaine and maintain the yelling and all that stuff. Plus, I didn't hear any sniffling. I didn't see any weird, lip smacking or anything. But that goes against sort of the amphetamines too. But Adderall doesn't do that. So I wonder about Adderall. that's the one that I go, And Salty, just so you know, what's that?
Could he take that at his age? He's like 81. Is that
81-year-olds
take Adderall?
I mean, you wouldn't give him a
sometimes?
lot. Yeah. You wouldn't give him a lot. But I want to remind everyone that the generic name for Adderall is dextroamphetamine. Dextroamphetamine is the generic name for Adderall. It is a direct amphetamine, isomer and enantiomer. It's what it is. It's a relative of methamphetamine. This is dextroamphetamine. So makes you wonder. Well, you're smirking. Tell me your opinion. What's your theory?
No, I love this. I love every aspect of this. See, I run out there and I scream about cocaine, right? I'm just going, cocaine. And they go, oh, he's not on the mainstream media press. He's not on cocaine. That's not what's important here. What's important is to get a discussion going. And then you start talking about the actual drugs that he can be on. And what it does is it fills in this knowledge gap that people have. I honestly don't think that the guy's on cocaine. I think that he's on something that I can't comprehend because I'm not in this realm. I don't understand the pharmaceutical business. I'm not in this, but you do. And you're given deeper knowledge. And this is going to be very interesting to come back to after the debate when we've got an actual example of how he's behaving during his speaks. I expect him to be going all over the place. I expect him to come out high energy and then fall back down and then yell and then fall back, whisper, yell, scream, poop himself maybe up there. Who knows? But it's going to be chaotic. And right before we went live, they were saying that CNN had to put they got a 2-minute buffer. They have taken the buffer to protect themselves. Even they think something might happen on this debate stage. And if he is got a pharmacological cocktail jacked up into him, that could cause all kinds of problems for a guy his age and his current abilities. So they're concerned.
I have a question.
Yeah, hold on a second. I just want to address something that's, first of all, last time you coerced, you declare victory over me every time you come in here. So victory, you got me to talk about psychostimulants with the President of the United States, number one. Number two, last time you had me say something derogatory about the former First Lady, and people are reminding me of that on the restream. And but what I want to address before I let Susan ask her question is people are asking about this adrenochrome idea. Why would you do that? Maybe they tried it, but adrenochrome makes no sense to me. Why wouldn't, if you were going to give somebody a pharmaceutical agent to help with performance, you would use a performance enhancing drug, which is Adderall. Ask any college age kid. They use it for performance because it works.
Helps you focus.
It helps you focus. It helps you. It actually, when I talk to kids about not using performance enhancing drugs, I don't say it doesn't work. I say, it does work because it's objectively true. Like I have a grade point difference in people that use it, but it's cheating. It's cheating. And why we don't look at any performance enhancing anything in any context as just cheating, I don't know, because it is cheating. You agree?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, good.
Unless you have ADD. Is there a teleprompter at the debate? Or because he reads a teleprompter perfectly. That's why I look good at the State of the Union.
That's very
there isn't. No, there is not well, who knows with what they're doing for this is obviously going to be a very lopsided event. Trump clearly knows this, but he's done the political calculus where he understands that no matter what they pump into this guy, no matter what he's using, he's got to go 90 minutes on a stage. Now, he hasn't done 90 minutes in 4 years.
Yeah.
This guy, when he goes out and he does a commencement speech, it's 6 minutes long. I think the longest I've seen him do something lately is probably about 15 minutes. 90-minute stretch is a Herculean effort for Joe Biden. And
listen, I mean, maybe they give him some IV fluids before he goes out there. I would certainly recommend that, and I would do that. Although then he'd have to pee, and then an old man, they got to pee. Would you put a catheter in then just to make sure he doesn't got to go pee?
Oh my God.
Well, I'm just saying, if you're gonna go all the way down the medical road, this is the way you'd have to think about it. Candidates will be allowed to take notes during the debate, but not to bring prepared notes. All right. But I will tell you what, one of the possibilities here tonight is that there's some sort of medical disaster. I mean, that is one, people are not talking about that. That I worry about the stuff they put this old gentleman in and what they make him do, and whether or not it's appropriate for him to try to just stand for 90 minutes. I mean, good for him if he could do it. One of the things that happens with Parkinsonian syndromes is something called the Shy-Drager syndrome, which is they essentially get postural hypotension. They get changes in their pulse and changes in their blood pressure, and they plots. Happens a lot with people with those sorts of features. So I don't know, maybe, who knows? I mean, it's a human being up there, and we will see. Susan, why did you ask about the teleprompter? Do you think that they would actually write his answers in and let him read
I'm
them?
just curious because he really can read a teleprompter. Like, I watched him at the State of the Union. I was like, wow, that's pretty good.
Well, Salty, if you were putting your paranoid conspiratorial hat on, which I know you wear often, according to your critics. Okay, good. Do you imagine there could be any other communication devices implanted, much like, I guess there have been some chess champions that have used rectal devices and all kinds of things too. All kinds of things have been used. I'm just saying. It's you, my friend. So you're here to enlighten me.
Well, I didn't think about that, but anything is a possibility. I think honestly at this point, here's a conspiratorial trend for you. They might put like a wire in his sleeve just to get people to talk about a wire in his sleeve, not necessarily that's even hooked up to anything, because they're going to want to. What's important about this debate for the establishment is that you don't talk about his gait. You don't talk about him fumbling around. You don't talk about him slurring his words. And you don't talk about his eyes glazing over. They want you to talk about anything else other than that. So I wouldn't be shocked if they did something weird like that. But I think, honestly, they are just going to gang up on Trump. I don't think you need to feeding Joe Biden the answers early is not going to help that dude. That dude's got a very difficult time getting up 2 stairs. He's going to completely forget anything. So no, I think what's going to happen is the moderators are going to run cover, and Joe Biden is just going to stammer off some talking points that he's been hypnotized into regurgitating over this last week, and they're just going to try to get him to stand for 90 minutes. That's going to be the difficult part.
And one of the things that he is good at, though, is reciting sort of hoaxopathies. So I'm gathering we are going to hear a litany of hoaxes that are probably sort of lined up in an attempt to get Trump to lose his shit. So do you agree that that's mostly what he's going to be talking about, one hoax after another? And B, is Trump going to lose his shit?
I think I'm hoping that Trump understands that you just let Joe Biden collapse. Like, don't fall for it. They're going to try to bait Donald Trump into talking about his conviction. They're going to try to bait Donald Trump into talking about the E. Jean Carroll rape allegation. They're going to try to bait Trump into things that they can control his Donald Trump's demeanor. And Donald Trump better be smart enough not to play into any of that. And Joe Biden is going. So Snopes, after 7 years, finally just admitted and acknowledged that both sides, there's good people on both sides, the Charlottesville hoax has been nuked. I guarantee you that even though they finally admitted defeat and acknowledged that Donald Trump didn't call Nazis fine people, Joe Biden will bring that hoax up again tonight. Joe Biden will bring that one up and the same, regurgitate all these hoaxes and call Donald Trump a convicted felon, and that's the game plan. And then when Donald Trump, if he tries to correct the record or he tries to go into the weeds on this, then the moderators jump in, and the moderator's job is to fill time for Joe Biden. The game plan for Joe Biden is somehow get this idiot to stand up there for an hour and a half and have him speak as little as possible.
That kind of makes sense. I just saw something go by in the Rumble rant. Thank you, Jason Mitten, I think it is, who used a phrase. I just saw it flash by that I thought was quite astute. He said it's a Ponzi scheme of hoaxes. And I thought, oh, that is exactly what this is. It started from the rapist and not their finest people coming over the border. That was the first one. And then it went to, one thing after another. And so there's all these hoaxes built upon one another. So the hoaxoplexy, the Ponzi scheme participants can always say, yeah, but okay, so Snopes got that one. But you got to understand in the context of all the others, because all those other things he has said and done tell us who he is, and he's a convicted felon. Boom. We're going to hear a lot of that, it seems to me.
Yeah. And these people who go, oh, well, they got the Charlottesville thing, right? Guys, it's been 7 years. You don't accidentally prop that up for 7 years. That's been repeated by Joe Biden, by Obama, by Kamala Harris, by Clinton, by every left-wing stooge on all of these platforms, all these talking head morons, all these idiots on X. They have been regurgitating the same exact hoax for 7 years. Nobody's been fired over this. Nobody's been demoted over this. Nobody has said, how did we pass this around for 7 years when it's verifiably easy to check? If you've got 2 minutes, you could read the entire transcript of what he said and find out that this is fake. And I knew that this was going to implode finally when Michael Rappaport's small head blew up a few weeks ago and said, oh my God, I can't believe I got. Did you know that Donald Trump didn't say Nazis were fine people? I was sitting there going, oh crap, they got that dude. That dude finally woke up. That hoax is dead. Put a nail in that bad boy, and here we go. Finally, 7 years later.
Yeah, I think the next one to go will be the inject bleach one, because that's the most egregiously diverts from the reality of what was being discussed. I remember I actually saw that live, and I was aware they were doing that light disinfectant research at Cedars. And, Trump awkwardly fumbled through what it was he was trying to describe, but there was no bleach discussed. It was nothing like that. It was a bit of research that didn't bear fruit. But listen, you're warming up here with me. You're warming up. I like it. Let's play a video if we can, Caleb, of Salty in really more expressive states. See if I can get him to get to a similar pitch here with us.
If you're not pissed off, then you're oblivious and you're in a haze. You have no idea. We're in a very dangerous time in our country. Again, their policies, their talking points, and the agenda that they are engaged in protecting has opened our border up. It has destroyed cities. It has gotten women raped. It's got children killed. These people are fucking dangerous. If you're wondering how you get killing fields, if you're wondering, it's a very thin line between runaway mass murder. This is what you've seen in all of these, whether it's the French Revolution, whether it's the killing fields of Cambodia, or Mao's Red Wave, or Stalin. There's these people are playing a very dangerous game of social engineering, and they are agitating hundreds of millions of people, and they are specifically feeding just real dumb shit into the mix to agitate people.
So I have been saying for quite some time that you can draw a straight line right back to the Jacobins, and in particular to Robespierre's committee that brought out the guillotines, which was entitled the Committee for Public Safety. When they started talking about safety above all, I thought, oh shit, here we go. The next thing is either, we know what's good for you and then be afraid. The lions are at the gates. Or the flip side of that is, we're going to take care of your happiness for you. We'll show you how to be happy. What the hell's going on? Why don't people see this? Why don't people study their history? What is happening? Is it just a natural way governments go and will always go throughout history?
Yeah, it just seems to be a reoccurring cycle of just civilization. Civilization just always seems to have this same set of repeating circumstances, and it's probably related to just human nature. Like humans are, they're just easily hackable and engineerable. And the more chaotic things are, the easier they are to program and hijack. I mean, you're seeing this, that first clip that you played, I don't know when that was, but you're now watching on what seems to be a daily basis little kids being raped and murdered. And this is easily solvable because the perpetrator is an illegal alien who broke into our country. And you've got these assholes that they're like, well, I mean, what do you want us to do? You want us to shut the border down? Yes. Yeah, shut the border. Shut the border down. Well, we can't punish all of these migrants because a few people raped a small child and murdered her the other day. I'm like, that right there is what I'm talking about with that real thin line, because now you are telling people to just enjoy the rape and murder, and there is not enough propaganda or gaslighting that is going to pave that over, and you are going to see a mass triggering effect. You're going to see a mob of people. It's going to get medieval in this place, and medieval
Oh, in the other direction. In the other direction? I mean, in the other direction?
I think you're going to
this is going to keep going this way.
No, I think we're going to hit, and I think the point of this is to hit some sort of inflection point where the populace rises up, and either through vigilantism or mob actions, you're going to see a group of people just rip one of these rapists apart. They're going to catch one of these dudes, and they're going to it's going to get gruesome, and it's going to get worse before it gets any better. But these people seem. This seems entirely on purpose. Like you can't fuck things up this bad on accident.
I got my eye on France, and I've been sort of reflecting on this for about a year at least now, because I saw the reverberations or the similarities with the 1790 revolution. And, with the recent Macron dissolution of his government, I've been listening to a bunch of French politicians talk about the situation. And it's wild when anybody disagrees with the people in power and the direction things are going, and the populace says, this is what's going on in France. They're saying that primarily it is immigration that's getting them and really they're trying to figure out, what does it even mean anymore to be French? What is France going to be? What is French? And they're sort of in response to that going, I think I'm done with this immigration thing. I'm tired. I'm tired of all this. These people have gone too far. They say that, and the people that have brought them these policies goes, they're deluded. They're out of their minds. They're interested in undoing the world order. They're far-right extremists. And they believe that. It's not just rhetoric. They believe what they're doing is right. They're sort of in this hypnotized state. Is this all mass formation? And did the mass formation come from, I don't know, the shakeup of Trump or the shakeup of COVID? Or you said fear. Is that where the fear was coming from? Or has it just always been percolating in the background?
Yeah, no, I think this is an extension of the internet era and the social media era. I think that it is far easier to cook people's brains in this new era that we're going through, because it's not, and it's weird because what they're doing is it's like that double think where they go, oh, the border being wide open is good, and there's raping going on. But still, I don't want to say shut the border down because then everybody will call me a Trump supporter. I don't want to be called a Trump supporter, so I'll just ignore the rapes. And I'm sitting there going, wow, okay, how did we get to this point? And more and more people are waking up to this and understanding that it's fine. It's worth taking some slings when, I mean, you see this in California all the time. Everything's getting way worse. They keep trying to tell everybody that crime is down. But crime is not down. Everybody in my neighborhood now has cameras on their house, all the way around their house. It's the new barred up windows, right? Remember you used to see gigantic iron bars, and you'd be like, well, that's on every house. I'm probably not in the best neighborhood. Well, now all of these houses, they've got, they're all $700,000, seven is probably low these days. They're probably $1 million houses, and they all got cameras on them, and crime's through the roof. and your grocery bills are through the roof. And these are things that people are starting to recognize that overcome the propaganda that's being hit with through CNN or for any of these talking points that is regurgitated by the establishment. Nothing, that propaganda and that gaslighting isn't going to get through people seeing their car broken into on a daily basis, or their children raped, or their grocery prices going through the roof. And so this agitation is boiling over, and you're going to see violence.
But listen, the thing that's happening here in California is the leaders, the elected officials, are they're so wildly addicted or deluded by their ideology. You heard the latest thing here in the city of Los Angeles. City councilwoman we've had this, I don't know if you're aware, we've had this wave of crime against vehicles where people are having their catalytic converters taken out from under the car. Now, to do that, you have to jack up the vehicle and essentially take out a welding saw and cut it out from the bottom. It's welded onto the vehicle like a muffler. It's part of the muffler, and you have to you have to really. It's a major undertaking to remove this piece of equipment. Now you can do it relatively quickly, but you have to have a saw and a torch and all kinds of things. The LA City Council has said they're furious with Toyota for making it so easy for the catalytic converters to be stolen. That's the problem. That's why we're having this issue in Los Angeles. And the same thing, the mayor of Oakland is saying the reason she was investigated by the FBI is because there are far-right extremists who have it out for her. It's this weird disconnect, and it's kind of crazy making when I think I'm connected to reality, but it really makes you wonder where reality is these days.
Well, these people are all criminals, allegedly, of course. But the Oakland mayor situation is fascinating because they'll tell you the reason why we're in the situation that we're in at large is clearly because we have a criminal class of people ruling over us. And then they go, well, what do you mean criminal class? Election, these are elected officials. You can't steal elections. Everybody knows elections can't be stolen. That's a conspiracy theorist, and we'll arrest you for saying so. Meanwhile, that Oakland mayor, she filed for her paperwork to run as mayor late. The city clerk backdated that. Then they deleted all of the city hall video surveillance footage for all of this, and you sit there and you go, who can organize this? It's like the entire city hall is full of criminals. It's not just the mayor. Somebody installed this woman and then caused a whole bunch of other officials to break laws to protect this woman. And then something happened because now she's being thrown out with an FBI investigation. So they'll eat each other alive, these criminals. There is no honor amongst these thieves.
Well, okay. So I need to take a little break here, but when I get back, I want to talk about Robert F. Kennedy. I want to talk about, why are you putting up Prop 47 there?
So,
Caleb, I
don't know if I've told you this
go
story,
ahead.
Drew. I don't know if I've told you this story before, but my wife was driving one time in Los Angeles, close to around the time that Prop 47 had passed, like soon after, and a homeless person jumped in front of her. He was working with another homeless person, and they acted like one guy had seen her hit this guy with his car when he had just jumped up from him behind a stop sign.
Yeah.
The cops came up and they said, look, this Prop 47 thing, our hands are tied with any sort of people breaking into cars, any sort of, like, most of these crimes that are happening that are really just attacking people, just running about their regular lives, because it's not up to the level of them taking the risk of chasing after a criminal. So the cop in Los Angeles was like, look, we got to get this thing passed. We got to get it changed, because if we see someone committing a crime, we actually can't do anything about it because our policy says it's not a felony.
I know. Listen, and Prop 57 allows you to Prop 57 allows you to traffic drugs, carry drugs up to a certain amount. AB 109 reconfigured all the, I think that's what it was, AB 109 reconfigured all the different violent crimes. So now if I remember right, rape with a weapon, or beating and raping, is no longer considered a violent crime, if I remember right. So things like that, the incredibly violent transgressions were reconfigured as nonviolent crimes.
This small change here,
welcome to California, everybody.
This tiny change right here with this Prop 47 that happened way back then, it has a trickle-down effect, because if you're not prosecuting someone who's breaking into a car because they only stole $100 or $500 worth of stuff and it didn't go over the threshold, that person continues. It's
why Oakland is going. It's why San Francisco's closing down. It's why Oakland's closing down, because they couldn't afford to keep the stores open with these. What's going on here? With all these robberies going on constantly.
Yep.
And it's why homeless people are dying on the streets. It's actually negligent manslaughter on top of that, those stupid propositions. And they sold them to people by lying what the content of those propositions were. So, okay, we got to take a break. We're going to talk about, I want to talk more also about the criminal aspect of what's going on. That intrigues me, because it really, when you think about the criminal element in our government, it's the corrosive effect of money and the cozy relationship with corporation. You can quickly go down that path too. So Salty Cracker with us. Be right back after this. Joint muscle pains are exhausting and frustrating, but I've got a over-the-counter medication I want to introduce you to that provides great relief using the power of, check it out, chili peppers. Capsidin is made with a proprietary formula that contains no non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agents, no opioids, no anesthetic or steroid, nothing, no chance for addiction, no side effects, no chance it's going to interact with other medication you might be taking. Capsidin contains capsaicin, which is the substance in chili peppers that burns your tongue. That gives you that burny feeling. And of course, I've recommended capsaicin creams to patients over the years, but other capsaicin creams burn your skin. That's what makes capsidin so unique. In clinical trials, capsidin has actually been demonstrated not to burn.
I've been using capsidin to relieve my pain in my hands and my wrist from carpal tunnel syndrome and arthritis. The results have been amazing. I use it every day during my show, and I highly recommend it.
Get the pain relief you need from various sources, even backache, sprains, bruises even. Order now at capsidin.com/Drew to get a 15% discount plus free shipping. That is CAPSADYN, capsidin.com/DREW. There are 4 distinct and outstanding medical kits from the Wellness Company: a first aid kit, a travel emergency kit. I was very instrumental in developing that one. I love it. A COVID emergency kit, but let's unpack their medical emergency kit, the one that gives you immediate access to treatment for a variety of medical conditions. Here's the kit: pneumonia, upper respiratory infections, skin infections, gastrointestinal infections. You'll have on-hand medication that will even serve as immediate prophylaxis against a sexually transmitted infection, rapid intervention for Lyme and other tick-borne illnesses. Of course, we've added Tamiflu to our kits. In case the avian flu should become human-to-human transmissible, then we know something is up and we want to be ready. And look, we want to be covered for bioterrorism even. And of course, the Nobel Prize-winning antiparasitic ivermectin, and a how-to guide and a virtual consultant. Get access to these prescription meds by going to drdrew.com/TWC to save 15% off. That is $30 off the medical emergency kit. drdrew.com/TWC for 15% off the kit and any of their kits or their supplements. Do it now. drdrew.com/TWC.
That's brilliant. And thank you, Drew. Where's Dr. Drew? Where is he? Dr. Drew. Dr. Drew.
Get into debt, but getting out of debt, that is much harder to do. You don't have to go through it alone because help is available thanks to PDS Debt. PDS Debt has customized options for anyone struggling with credit cards, personal loans, collections, or medical bills. If you're making payments every month on your debt or balances aren't going down fast enough, this program is for you. PDS Debt provides options that consolidate your debts into one low monthly payment. Anyone with $10,000 or more in eligible debt qualifies. There is no minimum credit score required. Even if you have bad credit, fair credit, PDS Debt can help. PDS Debt is a top-rated company on Google and has an A+ rating on the BBB. PDS Debt cares about helping you get out of debt. Check out their reviews and see how many mentions PDS Debt employees by name. Get a free debt analysis right now at pdsdebt.com/DRDREW. It only takes 30 seconds. That is pdsdebt.com/DREW. All right, let us bring back Salty Cracker and let the salt flow. Also, my wife Susan wants me to remind everyone, I was going to do it later, but I'll do it now, that her show is being resurrected. The Calling Out show will be at 3:00 today.
Coming back from the dead.
You can watch it on Locals and actually be a part of the program. Do they sign up at Locals? Is that what they do, Susan?
It's going to be on many different platforms.
You're having your own Locals
We'll
site?
be on rumble.com/Dr. Drew, also on rumble.com/Calling Out, as well as YouTube and Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook. So just look for Calling Out. Go to callingoutshow.com. You can get all the links.
Do they go to My Locals, or do you have your own Locals set up?
My Locals.
Drew,
it'll be locals.com.
Help me, Caleb, please.
Drew, yeah, she has her own Locals, but we're still working things out with them to get it connected correctly to her Rumble channel. So you can find it at rumble.com/callingout, or you can go to callingout.locals.com. But all those links are going to be at callingoutshow.com.
If you join My Locals, you can get an opportunity to get a reading on my show. So that's what Locals is for.
Okay. All right. We're going to let the salt flow again. So we were talking about Governor Newsom before the break, and he has, I guess, moved his family to the ritzier part away from California to Marin County or something, and now more private schools, which I think his kids were already involved with. I mean, if you've been to Sacramento, you ever seen Sacramento? It's a disaster. It is a disaster. And the disaster is all around the governor's mansion and the Sacramento State House and whatnot. It's unbelievable. It's just one meth gang after another, park filled with dying alcoholics out in front of the state building. Of course he gets out of there. He is the king of do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, no, that's the guy who kept his restaurant open during COVID, went and ate and didn't have to do social distancing. Only the help had to wear masks. But yeah, no, he's ruined. Well, he's ruined it, but the people behind him have ruined this place. This California dream has turned into a nightmare, with poop all over the sidewalks and drug addicts dying in the streets left and right, and everybody pretending that this is fine because it's all done under the guise of rainbowism. They put everywhere you see this rainbow flag that has nothing to do with gay rights these days. This rainbow flag is all over the place. Everything underneath it's completely destroyed. All of the small businesses are boarded up. There's graffiti all over the place. There's AIDS needles on the ground. There's dead people on the sidewalk. And they go, well, we're progressive. Well, this progressiveness sucks then, because this is absolutely silly. And all these people are fleeing it, by the way. Yeah, he's leaving Sacramento. Sacramento is, not only is it a hellscape, but it's hot too. So it's a double blast of stupidity to live in that area. But yeah, they're destroying all of these places.
So what's it going to take? I mean, it does seem like internationally there's kind of a movement against some of this. Again, with immigrations sort of seeming to be the key motivator. Are we going to get back to sanity, or is pragmatism going to be restored, or has the corrosive effect of money and criminality and all these things become actually a fixed feature of how government operates now?
Yeah, my hope is that we come to some sort of Berlin Wall moment where people just it just collapses in on itself. And people go, wow, it was real dumb to have open borders and let these people come in here and rape everybody. And people just move forward and start rebuilding this place out of ashes. But honestly, I have no idea. I can see it I can see this trend continuing to go in a real stupid direction as a slow burn, because humans seem to acclimate to chaos if it's done slowly enough. But
it's interesting. I was really so shocked / disappointed by the Supreme Court decision about the government and social media, the Missouri versus Biden, and that whole thing, and that was shocking to me. And instead of being like losing sleep over it, I thought, oh well. I became like a learned helplessness, animal. Like, oh well, that's the world I have to learn to live in. And it's death by a million, a million pinpricks. That's what's happening here. And I was shocked at how quickly I just went, well, I guess next should get used to the government really not changing and everything being the same as this, and us continuing to slide down this crazy slope we're on.
Yeah, that Supreme Court decision is a bit of an issue. For people who don't know, they said they had no standing, and so they didn't even adjudicate it. They just said, "Listen, we're going to kick this back to the circuit, and we're not going to hear. It's totally fine if the government launders its squelching of your First Amendment through a corporate entity, which is it's not. It's clearly not. And I think these people are cowards. But again, it's easy for me to say that. If you're one of these justices, God knows what these people are being threatened with, because right now, in this information age, with everything that's happening right now, it's being done predominantly through propaganda and gaslighting and an assault through this fifth generational warfare with information. The government needs to, from their evil perspective, obviously, I'm not saying this is legitimate or moral, I'm just saying this is what's going on. This establishment needs to be able to control information and narratives on these platforms that are facilitating this vast amount of informational connectivity between humans. And so I imagine what happened was these people got phone calls and they said, listen, you guys can do abortion or you can do whatever the hell you want, but if you impede our ability to silence people in this information age, we'll just kill you. Well, they probably won't even threaten them. They'll threaten their daughters or their sons. These people are evil.
So you think there's actual threat of physical harm flying around out there? I mean, it's possible. I listen. Now, what COVID taught me was anything's possible. It's really just extraordinary. The fact that we weren't allowed to question the risk-reward propriety of a given therapeutic practice, such as a vaccine for, say, a 25-year-old male, that you weren't allowed to do that, or a 4-year-old child, or a pregnant woman. You weren't allowed to do that. And it's looking like that the rate of myocarditis, say in a 20-year-old male, is somewhere between 1 in 1,500 and 1 in 5,000. And the risk of Omicron is zero. And by the way, another recent kind of crazy thing that I'm noticing is we have people hate this, but I want to bring this up. But we have a very, very, very good treatment for COVID. It's called Paxlovid. We're having a major sort of uptick in COVID here in Los Angeles. I'm seeing a lot of it now. I'm using a lot of Paxlovid, and guess what? Everyone's better. I have an 82-year-old I just gave Paxlovid to yesterday. He was better the next day. Not, he had less risk of hospitalization because he was vaccinated. No, he was not boosted, and he was better the next day because, thank you, this is a good antiviral, this Paxlovid. Now, there may be a little rebound, because the rebounds do happen, but he's not going to be in the hospital because of the rebound. Where is the treatment part of this? Why are they immediately, think of why the press is presenting the uptick in COVID in Southern California, which is, you got to get your vaccine. No, you got to talk to your doctor about taking treatment. And there's all kinds of treatments out there. There's monoclonal antibodies. There's Decadron. There's various other things you can do. Some people are still advocating early treatment with things like ivermectin and whatnot. And what is that, Susan? You're oh, okay. She's jumped up there with something. I'm going to do it in a few minutes, but something I was supposed to do, but I guess I didn't do. But the fact is that they're still at it. It's just so weird to me. I can only think of it as mass formation. That's the only, it's like you keep using the word hypnotized. I think that's totally appropriate. And mass formation, delusion, same idea. There's about 20% of people that are really prone to being hypnotized, and they seem to all be journalists. They seem to, a lot of them, be government leaders, and they are in control right now of these outlets, where people are not being rational at all.
Yeah, well, I have people around me who are, they've been boiled with this COVID situation, and so the vaccine, or the booster shots that they're taking now, when the media tells them that there's a spike in California, we're seeing it in the wastewater, there's a massive spike, go out there and get your booster shots. They do it because they have tuned out, or they've been kept protected in this information age in their own little bubble, and they haven't heard any negative information about these vaccines. And this is
But by the way, Salty, even if they choose to get the booster, I'm fine with that. They and their doctor should decide should they get the booster. The fact that the discussion of treatment doesn't enter anywhere into this has been going on since the beginning. It's been shocking me that the public health should be responsible for telling people, hey, there are treatments for this illness. They've been available since the Alpha and Delta wave. They're good. Talk to your doctor and then discuss booster or non-booster, whether that's right for you. That's all.
Yeah, no,
that's it.
No, there's no other avenue for them to send you down. I mean, this was predominantly killing people who were elderly or people who were obese with comorbidities, but they never told anybody to lose weight. They never told anybody to work on their diet. They never told anybody to get healthy. Like, they shut down the gyms. They said you can't get healthy. You can't go outside. You can't exercise.
Forget the gyms. The basketball courts. The beaches. The play. I mean, and I still hear people to this day saying, "Well, you should still wear a mask outside because there's a non-zero chance of transmission." Hey. There's a zero chance outside. There's a zero chance. There is such a thing as an asymptotic zero chance that is effectively zero. Yes, it's not exactly zero. It's effectively zero. And, oh, by the way, this thing you're so scared of, I'm seeing it all day. It's a lot of it out there right now. It's not a big deal. It's not. I don't want anybody to get it. And yes, there could be some other consequences. This spike protein is a fucking mess. But do I want to give them more spike from the vaccine or spike from the COVID? I've got some choices here. I think I'll go for early intervention on most of my patients. Unless they want the vaccine, then they get the vaccine.
Yeah, no, this is going to be around for I mean, this was a gigantic. Yeah, for the rest of our lifetime. This has been such a
I wanted to tell you,
thing.
I saw a lady in the parking lot. It was like 91 degrees outside, and she had a mask over her mouth, and she was walking through the parking lot. And I was like, we're still virtue signaling here in Pasadena. I was like, my God.
Oh, well, yeah, the talisman is out of control. I mean, you saw it all over the demonstrations and things too in New York and whatnot. People wearing masks outside in demonstrations. Like, why? It's like, well, you cover your face, people can't identify you. That's convenient. Maybe that's a reason why to do that. Yeah, but let me. Susan is obviously anxious that I get to something here, that a piece of business. But before we do, I want to play. Well, Caleb, out of this, we have another tape of Salty, do we not? Is that true?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so let me I'm gonna take one quick break here. I'm gonna catch up with our friends from Paleo Valley, and back from after I discuss that, I want to play the tape before we bring Salty back in here. So again, medical freedom, which I was just talking about, we do talk about here, came under assault during COVID, and there is still no end in sight, as Salty and I were just discussing. So food freedom is likewise potentially endangered. Just as you would take your own healthcare into your hands, you can be the decision maker when it comes to what you eat, drink, and cook with. That is why Susan and I, and a growing number of you guys, are Paleo Valley loyalists. The grass-fed and finished bone broth changed our lives, especially the chocolate. We drink it every day. Then the beef sticks, not to mention the venison version. Functional mushroom coffee, also daily basis. Beef tallow we use every day. You can't come into our house without bumping into a Paleo Valley product. If you haven't tried and subscribed, go to drdrew.com/Paleo Valley for 15% off your first order, or 20% off when you subscribe, so don't run out that way. That is drdrew.com/Paleo Valley. And as Susan likes to say, drdrew.tv is the free place to be. Let's hear from Salty Cracker in a more heated moment.
Why are we arresting anybody?
Oh, it keeps cutting back. It's I want to hear him ranting.
Why are we arresting anybody? How are we not arresting? We've destroyed countries over this. We have destroyed multiple countries over this. We've murdered a fuck ton of people over this. Millions of people have paid the ultimate price over this. We've got tens and tens and tens of thousands of mutilated, destroyed veterans over this. How the fuck are we not arresting a shit ton of people over this? Ledger entry, all right? Come on, literally. Donald Blump, literally silenced a whore. That's I don't give a fuck about that. What about this? Huh? About it? What about this? Huh? You fucking scumbag pieces of shit.
What do you have?
I mean, but look at that context.
I don't know what you were talking about there. What were you talking
So-
about? What happened there? What was that?
So, much like the Snopes thing about the Charlottesville, they go, oh yeah, by the way, we got videotape of Saudis in Washington D.C. planning out the 9/11
right.
attacks. It wasn't Osama bin Laden in an underground castle fortress in Afghanistan. And I'm sitting there going, first of all, you called people who questioned 9/11 derogatory truthers. I don't understand how it's derogatory, but anyhow, they did that and facilitated cover for apparently Saudis, and I don't believe it was the Saudis. This whole thing's a big mess, but you are hyper pedantic about Donald Trump's ledger entries and his taxes and TurboTax, and you guys have arrested him and you want to throw him in prison over this. Meanwhile, George Bush tortured people in countries and facilitated the cover-up of the largest attack in our country in modern history, for which we have killed 1 million plus people. What the fuck? We're going to arrest any of these people? Like, oh yeah, no. What do you want us to do?
Well,
Donald Trump's mean.
I'm sorry to say that really the thing that is most disturbing to me, not that is not disturbing what you've described, but that the Patriot Act and other powers we granted the government because we were afraid has now been turned domestically. Has now been turned on all of us. And that is, we should have learned. We should learn that whenever you give governments power, they go nuts with it, and they turn it on the people that they're supposed to be representing. And no longer, I don't feel like this government represents the people anymore. That's what it feels like. It feels like the middle level bureaucrats have sort of taken over in some strange way, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Department of Homeland Security just put out it's a written statement. It explicitly says, former President Donald Trump's supporters are the biggest domestic terrorist threat right now. So this federal government is robbing us through taxes, using that tax money to then spy on us and then lock us up. This is tyranny. And it's all the people who've been screaming about fascism and tyranny for 9 years are turning a blind eye to the actual tyranny that's going on right now because they're fucking stupid.
Projection. It's all projection. Everything. Yeah, I remember about 3 years ago, I saw a French psychoanalyst who said, whenever a narcissist says to you, you are, what you should hear them saying is, I am. And that's the model of projection. When you're doing this, you're a fascist. It's that narcissism and that projection, which is really, in fact, saying or revealing to you, I am. And that's what they're doing. They're doing everything they've accused everyone else of. So given that a lot of this goes on in the press, and the press, frankly, you've said that a lot of this is social media and the screens we hold in our hands now is why things have run so amok worldwide, really, and why the fear is able to be perpetrated on us. But I still feel like the mainstream media is a major driver of so much. Let's put it this way. It could be a steady hand to sort of stabilize things. Instead, it blows wind into the sails of the problems that social media and the screens are already whipping up. Where do you go, or where do you recommend people go to get information? The news is all bullshit. Everything's all bullshit. How do you know that what you're reading, hearing, seeing is reflective of reality? And by the way, I think a healthy, humble humility is in short supply these days. A humble posture for everybody should always be, maybe I'm not in reality. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I haven't figured it out yet. But where do I go?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why this informational warfare is so effective. You've got a lot of people in our society, and they're working multiple jobs so they can get food. They don't have time to vet their information, and that's why this has been hijacked, and that's why this attack is so effective. And so the shortcut for this is you need to find people who are on mainstream media press. You're never going to see any of those assholes ever say that they were wrong. They never apologize. They never come out and say, I messed things up. Look for those people. Look for, if you're getting your information from somebody who every now and then goes, hey, by the way, I completely fucked this up over here. I got to go back and explain this, or I was wrong. If you find somebody that says I was wrong, you're probably in a good place. Propagandists will never admit that they're wrong. People who are trying to influence your thinking instead of informing you will never admit that they're wrong, because they're not there to give you legitimate information. They're there to program your brain. Those people you should stay away from. Not only stay away from, but you should take their information, show everybody how it's a weapon, and mock these assholes to their face.
Where have you fucked things up in the past?
I thought Hillary Clinton. I thought they were going to swap out Joe Biden before he stole the election, allegedly, of course, in a fortificated manner. I don't want to get you in trouble on YouTube.
Please don't
mess that up. I thought
Caleb, hang on a second. We need another disclaimer that says elections are all properly vetted and secure.
Yeah.
And no one has proven anything about our election process.
Strangely, no worries about that, Drew, because YouTube just so happened to change that part of their terms of service about a couple months ago around election time. I don't know what they're expecting to happen, but now you can question elections on YouTube.
You can question elections, but we still can't use the word hydroxychloroquine, right? Can't say that word.
There he goes again.
Oh yeah, he's got to push up some sort of disclaimer if I say that word. You know, there we are. Just a reminder that hydroxychloroquine is a medication that I've prescribed hundreds of times. It's used for rheumatic illnesses, and people stay on it for decades without any difficulty. And I recently was doing a board review where they recommended that women who are pregnant, oh my God, look at you, who are pregnant, I didn't say anything about vaccines, women who are pregnant are to stay on their hydroxychloroquine throughout their pregnancy because it is such an inert medication. So anyway, here we go. Back to where you fucked up.
Yeah, I mess up stuff all the time. I get stuff wrong. I make wild claims, but you know,
What?
Yeah, believe it or not, Drew, right? But you know, I don't pretend to be a journalist. I do actually vet my stuff, and sometimes when you vet stuff, it's wrong, and so I don't pretend to have any journalistic background. I'm not selling myself as that. I'm a dude.
Well, let's
just
talk about
watches
journalists. Because journalists have become so self-righteous and self-assured and have irrational certitude as opposed to rational uncertainty about their positions. I saw that interaction recently between Tucker Carlson and that Australian journalist, and that was actually disturbing, frankly, on both sides. It was a deeply disturbing interaction. Did you see that?
I did see it. Mm-hmm. I saw 5 minutes of it.
What were your thoughts?
Probably the heated 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. So listen, Tucker does call her an idiot to her face, or calls her stupid, and is that professional? Is that no? It's not. But from his perspective,
it's also not. It's not clever. It's not mockery. You should be mocking them for the insanity of what she was saying, not saying you're dumb. She's clearly not dumb. I mean, it's like to me, it was dumb of him to kind of say it's just such low hanging fruit, and he loses an opportunity then. And her thinking was so bizarre that it'd be easy to mock, I would think. But keep going. What more thoughts?
Yeah, no, I see. I don't see her thinking as bizarre. I see her thinking as establishment approved thought process. So these institutions aren't accidentally hiring all the same people with the same exact thought process. She called him a mass murderer because he said Americans were being or because he's pro guns. Well, then he's pro mass murder. See, what they're doing is they're taking the way that they attack people's ideas through the rules for Solinsky's rules for radicals, or any of these left-wing ways of attacking thought processes, and because they keep adhering to this, they keep following the same exact pattern, and you can easily tear these things apart. But that's what Tucker was doing, and you could tell that he was getting agitated. The guy's just kind of done with being associated with mass murderers, and what she was doing is this is the bidding of these institutions. If this was on accident, that would be staggering. There's no way that it could be an accident from CNN's direction, from BBC's direction, from ABC's direction. This is a coordinated attack. They're only hiring these people on purpose.
Well, what I found most disturbing, it brought me back to something I was thinking probably 4 or 5 years ago, which was this notion that I'm the good guy, you're the bad guy, I want to end mass murder. You want to encourage mass murder. And of course, that is the most cartoon-esque, bizarre, inappropriate way to characterize anybody. We all want to get to the same place of equality, and if with equality of opportunity, maybe even equity one day, and where we all thrive. We want to get to the place where we're all thriving. There are pragmatic solutions to that to get us there. History teaches us how to get us there. This notion that you can call one group interested in harming people and one group interested in doing good for people, that fundamental dichotomy that's what I found so disturbing, and it's keeping me up at night again.
Yeah, well, so I think that's why you have that group of people, and it might not be nice, but I think that this is a limited mental scope situation. These people who do this type of a bidding or this type of attack of Tucker Carlson, if they're not, listen, she might understand what she's doing is stupid. She might understand that she's not got a full faith argument, but if she doesn't, if you think one political group is good, the other political group is bad, that's because you've got a low understanding of how things work. Maybe it's a mental issue, but there's a reason why this grouping of people keeps happening in this direction. They think everything is black or white. They can't comprehend that things are maybe shades of gray. They can't process this. Everything is fed to these guys. Donald Trump, all bad. Joe Biden, all good. Border open, bad. Border closed. Or no, switch those. You know what I'm talking about. But everything is
but
paradigm.
That kind of, I think maybe we should do more education about cognitive distortions and as well as personality characteristics that are prone to black-white thinking, and that's narcissism again. And black-white thinking, external locus of control, those are all circumstances that set up mobs. And then people get into mobs where they lose themselves and feel gratified with their aggression by acting it out on some identified evil person. When they wake up from this, they should feel terrible. You should feel, that's why they don't wake up. They're defended against waking up from it because they would have to acknowledge some really shitty things that they've done towards other people. Both sides have this. Both sides have it for sure.
Yeah, I think it's self-reinforcing in that way. These people will never admit that. A good portion of these people will never admit that you're the bad guy. If you wanted to ruin somebody's life over not taking an experimental medication, if you wanted them to be fired, if you wanted their kids taken away from them, you're an evil person. And these are all people who think that they're on the highest plane of morality. That I took a shot, right? I took one for the team. I'm better than the rest of you who won't take it. I want your life ruined, you sons of bitches. I'm sitting there going, you're evil. You're the bad guy in this situation.
Right. Everyone those same people believe they would have been the good guys. Would have been hiding Anne Frank up in their attic. No, they would have been the prison guards. They would have absolutely been. They would have been attacking the out group. That's what they're doing, attacking an out group. And it's not a becoming behavior of humans. We really need to think about it. Mark Chankisi is a cognitive psychologist, and he's been lately attacking people that have come around on everything. But he says, look, when this all got going, I don't care. I appreciate that you've come around on your thinking about COVID and vaccines and other things and totalitarian overreach and whatnot. But he said, look, when the choice needed to be made, you made the wrong choice, and you need to cop to that. That when there was really a stress on you and there was a lot of momentum in a certain direction, you were not able to think independently. You became the prison guard. And any of us, to the extent that we did any of that at any point during COVID is a great example of this, we need to do some search our soul a little bit so we don't do that again. Really, the most important thing about COVID was it was a lesson to give us some information so we don't do this again. And yet We're heading into, as we've discussed already today, we're heading into a outbreak of COVID. Oh, have a panic, everybody. Only talk about vaccine, don't talk about treatment. Oh, bird flu's coming. And by the way, if the bird flu jumps to humans, my only way of, I have a high degree of suspicion it's because somebody in Madison, Wisconsin was messing with that virus to increase its function, so it will jump to humans. Thank you very much for having done so. So we should be rationally ready for all this. But it doesn't mean we should be in a panic and we should make the same mistakes all over again. Yet the press addicted to these mistakes because that is when they felt most gratified, most powerful, and captured the eyes they wanted.
Well, you couldn't speak out against it. You were immediately blacklisted or kicked off or booted, and now we're finding out that the government was behind a lot of that, and this feckless Supreme Court again goes, well, that's fine. That's fine.
It's shocking. That's just shocking. It really is. I still can't get that through my head that they were so involved with that. I keep thinking it was the press just trying to massage their business. But you're right. It was that. Any other Supreme Court decision surprise you in this last week?
No.
Yeah, it's pretty much what we expected. This week I've just kind of really been focused on what is going to happen later on tonight. I am trying to process what the plan is. What if the guy falls apart on stage? Do they replace him? Are you going to listen to Kennedy's parallel universe to his response to any of the questions? You're going to sample any of that?
I will find clips of him afterwards to see if there's any whatever floats to the top for him clip wise, because I don't, he doesn't seem to be that big of a player in what's going to be happening unless he shaves some points off of Joe Biden in the future. But again, that all counts on Joe Biden being their nominee. I think tonight is make or break. I think I want to see if this dude, God forbid, he takes a dump on that stage, literally, that is going to be it's going to be it for that party. It's going to be hilarious and the human aspect sad.
Yeah. So let the salt flow. What's your prediction for tonight before we wrap up?
Let me lowball this, Drew. I'm sorry, I'm going to lowball it on your show for you. Here's what I think is going to happen. I would hope the idiot trips on the stage up to the dais. That would be hilarious for me. But I think what's going to happen is it's going to be a 3-on-1 event. They're going to try to jam Donald Trump up. The moderators, Joe Biden's talking points are all going to be that he's a convicted rapist, and they're just going to try to hammer on that, drag that out. And it's probably going to be a boring hour and a half because the entire point is just to get Joe Biden to stand up. If Joe Biden stands up for an hour and a half, even if he mumbles and slurs, they are going to declare victory. And so that's my prediction.
Is that a low ball?
That's the low ball. The high ball would be idiot falls on the stairs up the stage and craps himself, and Donald Trump just laughs and points, and then we move on to Hillary Clinton or somebody swapping in for a replacement. Gavin Newsom's probably going to be the replacement if they got to replace the dude, but I think that's probably.
Can't imagine.
I know, isn't that crazy?
People don't understand.
There goes the world.
How bad that is. And it seems like stool figures prominently into your predictions tonight.
Oh my God.
Presence or absence of
You know
stool
what's sad though
important.
is people always vote for the underdog. Like look what happened to Dr. Oz. He lost against, what's the guy's name?
Jeff Fetterman.
Against Fetterman. Like that could work for him.
But Fetterman's stroke cured some of his positions. It's really interesting. No, you don't think so? Something turned him into.
Yeah, I think they've done some political calculus over there and realized that it's better for them to go against the progressives because there's a lot of I don't know, sane people in Pennsylvania still. And so a Democrat who's not progressive, I think it works well for that area.
I have a question.
saltmustflow.com, Clown World commentator. Where do you want people to go? And when?
Just saltmustflow.com is cool. I'm just happy to be here, Drew. Thank you so much for having me. It's a blast talking to you. It blows my mind.
It is it is always fun to talk to you, and we're really responding to the audience demand. They love you, and they want to hear more, and they wanted me to disparage a first lady again, but I'm not going to give them that this time. even though Caleb flashed her name up on the lower third for a second, I didn't know what that was all about. Caleb,
that was a total mistake. I don't know how that graphic.
That's what I thought.
I don't know what happened.
That was interesting, but I thought, okay, I'm going to let that go. But you'll get me next time to say something that embarrasses me, or somebody will pick something out of what we just discussed that will create a shitstorm for me, no doubt. But thank you for being here, and we'll see you over at saltmustflow.com. Thanks, my friend.
Thank you, everybody.
You got it. All right. So there we go. So I'll say again, Susan's show is coming up tonight. That's at 3:00 or 6:00 if you're in the East. I believe you'll have time to watch her show before the debates tonight. So do check it out.
Yes, you will.
Callingoutshow.com.
I have 13 followers on Rumble. I'm so excited. Thank you.
Well, get on Rumble and
I haven't looked over it at YouTube yet, but thank you for following me.
They're doing a really professional job of developing this program. So
we have a new tech person, though. This is sort of our maiden voyage. We're doing like a pilot tonight, and then we'll see how it goes. But hopefully Caleb's going to be in the background trying to help us with our new tech guy, and should be fun.
All right. And so
we're going to talk to dead people tonight. So be ready.
Yeah. Oh,
not Joe Biden, real dead people.
Dave Rubin just texted me. Hold on a second. COVID skeptics are now hyping bird flu fears, making money. Oh, here we go. Yeah, right. Laugh out loud, he said. Hysterical. Oh, my God. All right. Whatevers. Any event, where should we go from here? Let's talk about what's coming up. Yeah, we are. Calling out, as we said, Dr. Andrew Huff will be in studio, I believe. He's a whistleblower against for the EcoHealth Alliance. Dave Rubin is coming in the 10th. There's the lineup coming. Zach Voorhees on the 17th. We've got a lot of great guests coming. Michael Fairclough is he's an educator with some really interesting opinions about educating youth. He has deep experience with that and had a very powerful response to lockdowns and what that has done to us. So we appreciate you being here. I'll try to pay attention. We're going to be only in here one day, I think, next week. Is that correct, Susan? Because of the 4th of July weekend, are we in here 2
Yes,
days? Tuesday. Not Thursday, though, right?
We'll be back Tuesday.
Tuesday only?
Yeah. Okay. It's a holiday week.
Okay, holiday week.
Little breaky.
All right. We've had a little bit of breakies here. And then we go back to, I'm looking at the schedule.
Drew hates to take breaks.
I don't like taking breaks. It's 3 o'clock all the way across the next 2 weeks.
It
throws our audience off, too. They don't know quite where we are.
Good. So recharge your batteries.
We appreciate you guys following us and finding us and supporting us. It really has been it's a profound pleasure to be a part of this and to have done this and keep doing this. And that's, again, why we bring you guys you like, folks you like Salty Cracker. Salt Must Flow, everybody. That's where you can find him. And you can find us here. I'm on X, Dr. Drew, and I will, but just really quick, don't forget our friends at MyPillow. They've got some great stuff. Susan bought their bath towels and loves them. They're literally like hotel bath towels.
Amazing.
MyPillow.com/DRDREW. Check them out, and you'll love the staff there.
The prices are great too. They're like hotel level towels and washcloths. They're like so fuzzy, and they make the rest of my towels look bad.
Okay, hopefully you guys come back at 3 o'clock to see Susan new program.
I hope I see you there.
We'll see you there. Thanks, everyone. Ask Dr. Drew is produced by Caleb Nation and Susan Pinsky. As a reminder, the discussions here are not a substitute for medical care, diagnosis, or treatment. This show is intended for educational and informational purposes only. I am a licensed physician, but I am not a replacement for your personal doctor, and I am not practicing medicine here. Always remember that our understanding of medicine and science is constantly evolving. Though my opinion is based on the information that is available to me today, some of the contents of this show could be outdated in the future. Be sure to check with trusted resources in case any of the information has been updated since this was published. If you or someone you know is in immediate danger, don't call me, call 911. If you're feeling hopeless or suicidal, call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 800-273-8255. You can find more of my recommended organizations and helpful resources at drdrew.com/help.